Welcome to the October 2016 version of the Musical Life Mastermind, the live mastermind. And boy, we have got an amazing session planned for today. Oh, guess what? I forgot to invite everybody. let me post all the invitations. That's why the room seems a little bare. I forgot to invite folks. I just sent invitations. But anyway, right now in the room with me are the lovely Margaret. Margaret, how are you?
Hi, doing great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And then we also have Seth here. Welcome,
everybody.
Seth. You graciously sacrificed half of your soccer game to be with us.
Yeah, right. I forgot to change my shirt, so I'm still like wearing my soccer jersey, but that's all right.
I love it. We just keep it real in this live match. Anyway,
I'm roughing it over here, like glistening with like soccer game. It's great.
The coolest thing about today is that we're going to be diving really deep into a just an incredible topic: how to create your own online courses. And we're going to be taking a look at several different options, several different ways to do this. So, I mean, boy, we should just sell this live mastermind session because this is worth a lot of money. We're going to be giving good inside information into really one of the most profitable ways to make money. Make your own courses, make your own series of lessons or instructions. You can sell these courses and make money that just generates income passively for you over and over again. And so what I'd like to do, we're going to be taking several different perspectives. We're going to be taking a look. Margaret is going to be talking about a fascinating example of a website that provides basically everything you need to create the course. You don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to have your own website even. You can just sign up for this service, which is a website called Teachable.com, and they give you all the tools you need to build your own course, some beautiful courses, powerful tools, and also all the commerce tools you need to collect payment. It's very, very cool. And then Seth is going to talk about another perspective. Seth is going to talk about how to create automatic courses that get email. These are email courses. So when somebody clicks on a sign-up link and enters in their email address, which is a great way to collect email addresses and contact information for future PR and promotion, then Seth's system automatically kicks in and sends the person automated courses over email. So they get the courses in their email inbox. And Seth is going to talk about how he sets that up. But let's start off with Margaret. Margaret, I'm going to throw the floor to you and tell us a little bit. I know you have a presentation also ready to show, so I'll let you take the floor.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for letting me share this. And I wrote a book about 6 years ago about tone production at the piano. And I always wanted to have a video component to it. So I thought 2 years ago, why not create an online course? So I'm just going to jump into the slides because it might be easier that way. Hold on one second. I got to press this button.
Margaret has learned how to do this, which is very cool.
Really learning. Thank you, Hugh. You've shown me all this information. Okay.
Yay.
So here it is. Here we go. Creating your online course. Now I'm going to just talk about a little bit of reverse engineering, because what I learned along the way, it's not simply about creating your course and bam, you're going to make passive income. There's a lot more steps behind it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, I think, the most powerful secrets to doing that, so that once your course is ready, you could just jump on Teachable and start hopefully making the impact. So like Hugh was saying, why to do a online course? I mean, there's so many great reasons to do it. In addition to passive income, you get to have a bigger reach, and it's repeatable. You can run it as long as you want to. People can always access this material. And another byproduct is that it establishes you as the expert, the person that people want to go to in whatever field of expertise that you decide to teach upon. So the first step is your course idea. And this could be very broad because, I mean, we're all mostly musicians on this site. So it could, you can be very broad and say, I'm going to teach beginners how to play the violin or something like that. But if you dig a little deeper, you might find that people are coming to you with certain questions all the time. Like maybe you're the person that they go to for, preparing for a competition. And so maybe you could create a course based on, how to get ready, in whatever, 2 months for your competition. That's just an idea. But if you can just think about, what are you asked about? What do your students really love about you? Your particular niche within music. And this is the thing I didn't do. It's validate. You really, before you start to make a course, which is a lot of work, you have to make sure that people are interested in it and will buy it. So asking a lot of questions of people, but not from your own point of view, but from their point of view. What is it that they're experiencing difficulty with? What are their pain points? So you need to dig here. And so you can arrange for Skype calls with your people on your list, or people that you meet through Facebook groups that ask you questions, even students. You could just dig deeper to see, what is it that everyone is experiencing difficulty with that I can try to help them with, and then turn that into a course. So it's a little bit reversing it. You can do surveys. Another way to test your idea to see if it has legs to stand on is doing something called a beastly resource, which sounds really horrific, but a beastly resource. I heard that from Neil Patel, and I love that. It's like a really huge, wonderful piece of value that people get for free. And they love it so much that they can't wait for your real course to start. You know what I mean? So it's a sampler of something. And it could be anything. It could be a great blog post. It could be, a piece of a course that, you're just giving them a few videos from your bigger course. You just have to brainstorm it and see how people react to it. If you get a lot of great feedback, then you're on to something. Now, I'll tell you about my weird validation method. Was I started selling my course before I had even created it. And that's really, I know. I had a sales page, and I kept talking about the value. And I even told people it's a 6-week course. This is what you're going to learn in week 1 through 6. And it was all laid out. And I set my, hard cart close date 2 weeks from the moment I started selling it. And I thought, okay, we'll see how many people sign up, and then I'll just create it. Thinking that anybody would buy it, because it was August, and I was thinking, well, it's August, people are on vacation, but I'll just try to sell it and see what happens. Well, the final day came, and I was thinking, nobody bought this course. That's great, because now I could just spend the rest of the summer at the beach and chill out. But then at midnight, of course, the sales start coming in. And then it dawned on me, oh my gosh, now I have to do this heavy lifting. So I don't suggest doing that, but the only reason I was able to do it was because I had already written a book. So it was just essentially taking the content from the book and repurposing it for video. So,
boy, there's nothing like pressure to really get you.
Yeah. Do it if you have to.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. So, if that's your game, then by all means do it. But, the reverse is actually not a great idea. Creating the course, not knowing whether people have an interest in it, and then trying to sell it. And that's what most people do.
Yeah.
So the idea is to really, really dig. People will tell you what they need, and we have to kind of just come at it from a service kind of perspective, just giving people what they want rather than what we think they want. You know what I mean? So that was my big learning from that. But let's say now you have a great idea, you validated it. Now you have to think about how you're going to deliver it and in what sequence. So starting with an organized outline is really key. And I included a link, Hugh, on the Mastermind site with a wonderful worksheet that I've taken from a course that I use that was very helpful to me. And if you're at that point of wanting to fill in the blanks and create your own outline, then I would strongly recommend downloading that link and using that worksheet. It's very, very helpful.
By the way, the Margaret is referring to is actually as a link on the forum where the Mastermind is listed for the A Musical Life Mastermind members. So this is one of the benefits of becoming a member. We share these resources among each other, members only. So you can download Margaret's wonderful PDF. It's a great worksheet. So you'll find that in the forums underneath the link for today's live Mastermind episode.
Fabulous. Yeah, that is going to clarify your ideas and get the course started on the right foot. You know, and you can share it any which way. You could do video course, you could do a PDF course. Seth is going to tell us about email courses, audio only. So really the sky's the limit. The second thing is naming your course. Now, this could be a huge discussion in and of itself, but you know, having a punchy title that illustrates what it's about is really key. Mm-hmm. But it should make an impact. And then once you have it, it's really another key thing is having a good sales page and making it irresistible. And there are all sorts of guidelines on the web that you can look up where people teach you how to write good sales pages. And this is, I think, one of the most important pieces. Sometimes we all get bogged down with the content on the site, on the course itself. And, you know, especially creative types, we neglect the sales part and the communication with the potential customer part. And these are where the success is either made or broken. Sometimes we want so badly to provide value through the course that we don't build the audience that we need, and therefore our course doesn't, you know, it just sits collecting dust on the digital shelf. So this is where a good sales page is your best friend. Pricing your course the right way, another important thing. You have to choose the right, not too high and not too low either.
Actually, you know, the interesting thing, I've heard arguments, especially from some of the founders of Teachable. I remember hearing an interview with him where he was actually suggesting or making the observation that so many of his customers or his clients who create courses through his website, teachable.com, mm-hmm. he actually was noticing that many of them priced their courses too low.
Yes.
He's always encouraging, price it high enough. Many people undervalue their information. They want to make it more available, but actually pricing your courses, it's a psychological thing too. Yeah. So you also want to caution not to price it too low. Make sure you really have the confidence in the value of what you're offering.
Exactly. And if your course is huge, and it's expensive, another option might be trimming it down and creating a smaller version at a lower price point that people can just use as the entry point to your product suite. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. If you're uncomfortable with your high price, then have a smaller offering too. And then maybe you'll strike the right balance for your customer. And then another consideration is, do you want it to be evergreen? Meaning, do you want it always to be available for your customers to buy? Or do you want to create an idea of scarcity and have a cart closing date, that the product is only available until this date and then it's going down and it won't be offered again till you decide, 6 months, 1 year, whatever that is. People tend to buy when the pressure is on. So a lot of people usually choose the second option, but Evergreen is powerful as well. Okay, so step 3, I hope I'm not getting too involved here, but delivering your course content, there's so many different ways to do this, and the way that I've done is Teachable. So I will just say that I love this Teachable, and I wish I had known about it earlier, because I didn't know where to house my course. I had so many videos. It's a very robust course. I had so many videos, so many PDFs, audio files, you name it. I didn't know where to store all this stuff. I just created a private page on my website thinking that was good enough. And it was not. And a couple of times even my website crashed. And so all the students I had taking the course were not able to get their content. It was a real disaster. And so this summer I heard about Teachable, and I just decided to just transfer everything on there, and I've been so pleased with them. So I'll show you what my course looks like when you go to Teachable. It's called the Total Tone and Technique Makeover. When you create your course, you have this wonderful splash page that you can put your own graphics on, you can put your own description, links to social media, and obviously it takes you right away to the cart so that any interested people could right away purchase it and start. And it's just wonderful because it does the work for you. And Hugh, you were totally right. You don't need a website if you have Teachable, because it's a website built into it. So if all you do is create courses for people, just bypass a website and have your own presence just through Teachable, and it's absolutely robust enough. And then if you go deeper, I created 2 courses here. The mini course, for the reasons I spoke about earlier, to provide a cheaper option for people and just a taste of the course, and then the actual full course. And I was even thinking of doing a free course just as a sampler, which you can also do on Teachable. So it's really great because it's so flexible. And this is, once you are inside and you've purchased the program, this is what it looks like. And it's great because all you need to do, you can organize it by chapters or however you want to do it. I did it by modules, which, is a 6-week course. So module 1 is week 1. And you just essentially upload everything. I uploaded everything from Dropbox, and it was so fast. I was dreading that it would take me days and days, but it actually was incredibly fast. So if you have all your files in one place, I would strongly recommend Dropbox, and then transferring everything over, organizing it. It does it essentially, you just drag and drop everything, and it's terrific. And you can even, these little circles show you how much you've listened to the course. I think as a teacher you can even see how much of the course was already taken by your student, and it's great. So sorry about that. So that's my little thing on Teachable. I couldn't be happier with it. And just last step is, your students, the people that buy from you, the most important thing is to make them feel like they're having a great experience. Like, I was thinking it's sort of like flying first class on a plane. You spend the big bucks for a ticket, you get on the plane. There's nothing worse than to feel ignored. So when you get that first notification that somebody's bought your course, treat them like first class flyers. Like the stewardess comes over with the hot towel. Right away you get a beverage. Right away, you get pillows and blankets, and people are just like really giving you a lot of attention. We have to use the same tactics, the same sort of hospitality for people that buy. So right away, you should send someone welcome email with login details. Maybe give them access to the training. Some bonuses, some extra perks because they've bought maybe earlier than other people. you just want to really make them feel like they're part of something special and that they've trusted you and they've bought your course and now you want to return their trust. One last thing I'm going to say, beta testing, powerful thing to do. Once you've created your course, before you sell it, it's a really great idea to just assemble a few people to take the course for free. In exchange, they will give you feedback, like any bugs they found in the program or any places where they had trouble navigating. This is valuable because then you could go in, you could fix anything so that when you really launch for real, everyone's going to be just thrilled and your online course is just going to be magic.
Margaret, this is fantastic. A couple of housekeeping questions. How much does Teachable cost?
Teachable is free if you're not charging anything for your course. So
Okay,
if you're right. It only starts to be payment involved when you are collecting payment. So I think there are a couple of options with Teachable. Either you can choose to like pay, I think, $39 a month, or a percentage, if I'm not mistaken, of your sales. So I think it runs also on commission. So, you know, it is an expense, but it's a great way if you're doing, say, a beta launch or using it as an opt-in, a sample for free, and people can easily navigate that course that way.
So you can see right there, there's the pricing breakdown by month for Teachable.com.
Right.
And I think in addition to that, it looks like there are also credit card transaction fees, and that's going to be normal whether you're using Teachable or not. Now, just keep in mind that 5% is roughly, so it looks like they're taking 5% with certain price plans. But if you're going with a $99 a month plan, then they don't charge an extra percentage on top of that.
Yeah.
And then it looks like they also have credit card fees that they tack on top of whatever the credit card processing companies are charging. Normally, credit card companies charge about 2.5% of the sale. So, but very interesting. Take a look at that. So here are the features. You can see, of course, with the larger pricing plans, more expensive pricing plans, you have more features. So that's Teachable.com.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of an investment, but you know, if it can be very, very lucrative, very, very powerful, very profitable way. And again, I think the beautiful thing is that right off the bat, as you were showing us, you've got a beautiful landing page, beautiful design, and these people at Teachable have really taken the best marketing elements and made it easy for people to get started right away.
Yes, absolutely. It's the easiest program I've ever used. So that says a lot.
Can you tell us a little bit about the quizzing features? I mean, that's one thing that for me as a teacher, so we've seen that you can post your content, your videos, I'm assuming from YouTube or Vimeo or other video sources, but what about testing? Have you tried the testing features?
Oh man, Hugh, I have not. So
okay.
I don't have any information about that, unfortunately. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure they have at least some basic quiz features.
There are some basic quiz things in Teachable.
So I'm just taking a look at their site right now to see if I can find the website. It's really great for passive learning in a sense. If you've got information, you want to share it, and you don't have to, so to speak. Sorry, I'm just taking a look at our quizzes. All right, I'm taking a look at the quiz section, but it's very, very basic.
Very basic.
They've got forums, so if you want to have interactions and people posting personalized questions. So, you have a blog session. So it's really as if you were creating your whole website presence. You could do it through Teachable.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah, it's a great program. I mean, the expense is unfortunate, but I researched even like this new Kajabi, which seems way more expensive.
Very expensive from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to the next option, which is Seth. So Seth, tell us a little bit about your secret sauce for creating online courses. Now, Margaret just talked about she's talked about a website service, which it's like a subscription where you can create courses, but have everything kind of built in for you. It's a full-fledged website presence, and delivering your content online. You have a different approach, which is very, very interesting. Tell us a little bit what you do.
Yeah, sure. So for my kind of portion, I figured it would probably, this is something that I've been experimenting with a lot this year and gotten pretty great results from. So I wanted to kind of just I thought it'd be useful to kind of talk about how to actually build a list and using, and so like I use a method of email courses where I use email course launches to essentially drum up a lot of interest around a course, and it really builds the list.
So by this, you mean an email list, a contact
email list, because it's great to build a course, but it's even better if you have an audience to buy for it. So I'm since like I've worked on Teachable things, but I've never built a full on Teachable myself like Margaret has. So, but I figured I would just kind of talk a little bit about my kind of approach that I use to email list building and by using email courses. So let me just share my screen here really quickly, and I can just run through a couple of these. Slides and just kind of walk through the process that I use. So, okay. Is it full screen? Is that right? Look good?
There you go. Looks great.
All right. So basically, and I should preface all of this by saying I learned this from a friend of mine who is a rock star blogger who runs a 6-figure blog every year. So this is not my own creation. I very much used his name's David Cadavy. David's a friend of mine, and he's been a very much a mentor figure for me. I know I'm actually in his design mastermind group, and so this is his method that I've kind of used and adapted for my own purposes on my site. And so this is all about growing an email list through free email courses. So the first question I should just address is why build an email list? It's been my experience and most of the marketers that I know that run massive businesses that email is hands down the best way to consistently reach your audience. It doesn't depend on algorithms of social media, different social media platforms for your reach. So what I mean by that is if, let's say you spent 2 years building up your Facebook following, you're getting a lot of reach, you've got tens of thousands of followers, it only takes one change in the Facebook algorithm of how content gets shared for your reach to just dive bomb.
And that's actually happened very recently on Facebook. They recently changed their algorithms, and suddenly all these factors that people were using bombed. I mean, their posts, their paid sponsored posts, nobody was reading them, and so business tanked across Facebook. And that's just like that, no warning.
Yeah, you have no control over this whatsoever. So yeah, I mean it's happened several times. People always freak out about it when it happens, but an email list is people giving you permission to communicate with them, and you're not depending on the algorithms of something like, say, Facebook to reach your audience. And the other kind of great thing about an email list is it gives you a direct link to your fans and makes you accessible to them. So if they want to reach out to you, they know exactly how to do it. And if you're providing good content to your readers, you want to be able to engage with them and hear from them. It's a very cool thing when you start actually hearing from real people all over the world that have read and used and implemented your stuff. It's a very cool thing. And an email list is a great way to kind of start fostering that connection with an audience. So the first step is to make something that people actually care about and want. So similar to what Margaret was saying, I mean, you want to, actually, an email course is a great way to kind of test ideas because it's extremely accessible to make. It's absolutely free. Anybody can do it with a free MailChimp account. And so the most important thing to start out with is making something people actually care about. So like Margaret was talking about, you have to understand your audience. Who are they? What do they care about? And you ask yourself, what problem can I solve for them? How can I solve that problem in a meaningful way that adds value? So I found that email courses are a great way to do this. And I'll kind of give the example here of, I'll talk about an example of the first email course I ever did, which got me tremendously fantastic results. So once you understand who your audience is, you can start to figure out what it is they actually care about. What are the challenges that they're facing? Whether it's, in my case, my audience is like mid-20s to early 30-somethings that are trying to get started in their music career and want to pick up extra gigs. So I made a course, the first one, which I'll talk about in just a second, was about networking, how to start authentically networking yourself. So step 2 of this, so after you understand your audience and you can figure out what it is they actually want, you can create an email course that solves their problem. So you actually want to create a solution to their problem. And when I say course, this could be a series of like daily or weekly emails. It could be like a video. It could be videos explaining a certain topic, whatever it is they care about. You could even curate resources that are, so like if you wanted to do a course on here's how to negotiate with venues, and all the great resources, the great blog posts, the great videos, the great interviews, you could even just curate that information and use that as part of a course. I've seen people do that. I mean, there are several like newsletter companies out there that all they do is share this kind of stuff, and they make a lot of money doing it. So there's a lot of ways that you can deliver the material that's valuable to your audience. But really, it's anything that helps you communicate your message with them. So however that is, you pick the platform. If you understand your audience, once you get there, once you start asking a lot of questions like Margaret was saying, you can pick the platform that's going to make the most sense. Don't let me or Margaret or Hugh or anybody else tell you what makes the most sense for your audience. If you find that something works best for them, go with that. So an example from my site, I just put together this course called A Musician's Guide to Building a Network, and it's a free course. And so I had some sales, not really sales copy. There's nothing for sale, but like I had copy on the site that was just driving people to to sign up for the course. And, so in this example, I just set it up originally it was a month-long course, and it was the week 1 was like why knowing people doesn't actually matter. Because it's not about knowing everybody. It's about having a connection with everybody, right? So the second week in this example was the secrets of building real relationships versus just like quote unquote networking with people. It's the thing, and I said almost everyone does this wrong. It's like teasing the reader a little bit, like, well, what is it that I'm doing it wrong? Am I doing it wrong? Mm. And then the third email was like exact strategies of how to research and identify who you should be connecting with. Because for my example, everybody says, well, I know I need to meet people, but I don't know who they are. Like, how do I know? So I wanted to address that specifically. And the last one was how to reach out to anyone in an authentic way, even if you think you're socially awkward. Because everybody says, yeah, well, I'm not a people person. I'm introverted. But, hey, guess what? I'm introverted too. So it's, so I wanted to address the pain points and just basically make a big, bold promise to them that I could solve or help them start solving this problem. And then at the very end of the blog post, I used all of this by just launching it with a blog post. That's all I did. And at the bottom of it just says, join this course by sign up here. That's it. So once you understand what the course actually is and you actually create the course, so you understand what the person's problem is, you understand what you want to do to communicate it, you need to structure your email course so that it's like optimized for maximum growth. So there are a couple steps to this. First is create a landing page, like Margaret was talking about. There are books and volumes there are conferences, and there are consultants out there that charge $500,000 to write a sales page for a corporation. I'm not exaggerating. We could talk about copy all day long, but you want to create a landing page where you can direct all the traffic to. So next, you want to announce the course, and I'll talk about all of these things. So then once you have the landing page created for the course, you want to announce it. And whenever you do announce it, you want to make sure that it's really shareable. So before we hop into this, just a couple of quick things that I want to address for folks that are watching this is, first, you have to make a big promise of a result. There has to be a problem they have, and you have to have a legitimate solution for it. If you don't know how to solve their problem, don't even bother trying, because people will know people will not respond well if you're wasting their time with things that don't work. So make a promise of a big result. Ask them to share with others throughout the process. I'll talk about that in a second. And give the course a deadline when you're first launching it, because it kind of makes it an event. And then, like Margaret was kind of saying, I think it adds a little bit of scarcity to it, which really helps people make the decision to sign up. So for the course landing page, this is basically, for anyone that doesn't know what a landing page is, this is just where everyone signs up. The only purpose of this page is to get people to sign up. Nothing else. There should be no extra, there should be no videos or sidebars or this or that or whatever to distract from it. You want everything to be focused on one thing. So you want it to give it a clear call to action. Sign up here. And for me, I just used a blog post. I didn't really have anything on there, but I literally just used a blog post, and that did the trick. So whenever I announce the course, I sent out an announcement to my email list letting them know, hey guys, I know a lot of you have told me about this problem. I heard you, and I put together this course. At this point, I've never sold anything to my list, ever. But so I just said, I know that you guys have had problems with this, you struggle with it, so I wanted to create a resource for you. So I sent out an announcement to my email list. If you don't have an email list, send it out to people you know, your friends, whatever it is. Social media, share it on Facebook, tweet about it, post it in a Reddit forum, whatever it is, whoever your audience is, wherever they're hanging out, you want to get it in front of them. If you have to ask your friends, like, hey, I'm doing this thing, it's for musicians, would you mind sharing it? And your friends if you have friends that know musicians, like most of us probably do, that's a great place to start, because once you kind of get this thing rolling a little bit, I'm going to talk about it in a second, because once we're going to make it super shareable. So send everyone to the landing page to sign up. And to make it shareable, this is where it really makes a big difference. So when they sign up, send them a welcome email and ask them to share. And I'll show you exactly how I did this. And you can even use a landing page here if you want. So like if you want to get fancy with it, but in MailChimp, you can set it to where I can show people this, how to do this if we have time, but you can literally set it to where instead of like they get another email when they click confirm on your list, you can actually send them to another landing page that's just set then that actually looks like this. So once they confirmed, I sent them to this page and just said, awesome, you're confirmed. Click here to share it with your friends, and I put a little smiley face. And every single person that signs up gets to this page, and some of them click, some of them don't. But every single person that comes through, if they tweet about it and then they send one more person in and then that person tweets about it and then two more people come in and one of those person tweets, it creates this viral loop that kind of like perpetuates the sharing of this idea. This is so important. You want to make sure that you make a very clear ask for them to help. It's like, hey, like we were just talking about of the pricing, it's like, I'm giving you something of a lot of value. Would you mind helping me out? Just a little touch of reciprocation there. And it works. So I send a reminder out to the list before the course starts again and say, hey guys, if it's coming out tomorrow, it starts next Monday, whatever it is. If you wouldn't mind, could you share this with your friends? If you already did it, awesome, thank you. But if you haven't, I would mean the world to me. And you just send them to a page like this, and it does wonders for actually sharing, like actually getting people to share it. And actually, I can back up here just a second. And so on this one, I actually got about 200 shares on this post by just using this little system. You can see on the left-hand side there. So that was great. And so for me, let me jump over here. So the results from this launch of this course launch, this is the first one I did. I kind of messed up my statistics because I combined these lists at some point, so it kind of got a little messed up. But I got 235 people subscribe. So when I started this, it was around 400, and I got 235 people to subscribe in like 10 days.
Wow,
So,
that's fantastic.
So, and then over the course of a few months I did another course launch, and then I actually used one on my course. It grew the list by like 150%, and now it's at like, it's just shy of 1,000. It's like just under 1,000. And I built these courses once, and I just kind of let them run. And there's like this little sharing machine going on at all times. So anytime somebody new comes onto my site, if they sign up for the course, it sends them through the course. At the end of the course, it asks, hey, Hugh, whoever the first name is, if you like this course, would you mind sharing with your friends? Just click here to share it on Facebook. And it basically creates this like self-perpetuating machine. So if you want to learn more about this, Google Cadavy Explosive Email Course. This is my friend David's presentation at a conference about this. This is the exact video I watched. When he launched it, he has a much bigger list, but he grew his list by like 10,000 people in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Like, it was crazy. So the video is there. Just Google Cadavy Explosive Email Course, and it'll pop right up. It's a free video on Vimeo. I literally used it like word for word. I followed every single thing he said, and it grew my email list from like, it took me over a year to get to 400, and then it took me a couple of months to get to 1,000, or almost to 1,000. I'm not quite to 1,000, but so that's kind of my method for it. So that was a lot of information really quickly, so I apologize.
No need to apologize.
But yeah, so if there's any questions about the process, I'd be happy to do that, to answer any of them.
Thank you so much. I know Linda's actually online. Hi, Linda. If you have any questions, I'm keeping my eye in the chat box for you. So
hey, Linda, you can ask questions.
Yeah, go ahead and just type them into the chat box. And anybody else watching, if you're here, feel free to use the chat box on the bottom of the page. If you don't see it, scroll down a little bit below the video, the live video feed, and you'll see a live chat box, and you can type in your questions. I'll see them because I've got I'm using my iPad as a second monitor, and I'll just share the question with everybody else here, and we'll all try to help you give some answers. Listen, these are fantastic. By the way, I want to remind everybody too, all of the live mastermind sessions that we have are reviewable. You can watch them at any time on a Musical Life Mastermind, musicallife.com/mastermind. Go to the forums, and you can watch any of these sessions again. So if we went too fast, go back, rewatch. Seth just gave a whole bunch of really incredible information. Margaret just shared some amazing information too. You can go back and review very carefully what they covered in great detail so quickly. So now I guess it's my turn. Okay, so
I actually have just one question to ask Seth. Seth, when you said to learn your customers' pain points, what they're struggling with, when you were just starting out, how did you obtain that information?
Yeah, so when I first started from zero, like when I opened a MailChimp thing and I had literally 0 people on the list, I actually still know who the very first person ever signed up for my email list was. And so I actually just put together what I thought would be a useful thing for musicians, just based on my own experiences and just knowing a ton of musicians. But there's actually a book about this exact topic it's free to get online at this guy's website. You might be familiar with it. It's called Ask.
Oh yeah.
By Ryan Levesque.
Yeah, I think that book. I haven't read it yet.
It's a phenomenal book. I've only used one of the 10 surveys in his book or whatever there is, but I sent out a simple survey. And actually, something I also did is at the end of one of the courses, when I automated it, I actually sent out an email. I sent out an email at the very end and say, hey, I want to make sure that everything that I'm writing is super useful for you. If you have 2 minutes, would you mind filling out this survey just so I can, hopefully better write for you? And so every now and then I'll just check back in, and I'll get, it's not tons of people, but I'll get people's feedback. When I initially did the survey, I literally just copied exactly what he said in this book. I think I got probably 70 responses or so. I I got a lot of responses. I was actually really surprised how many responses. And I literally just went through and said, and almost everyone said, oh, I don't know how to network. I don't know what to say. I don't know who to meet. I don't know the right people. I didn't go to this school. I don't play in this group with these people. You know, everybody, nobody, like, even when they didn't want to say they don't know how to, like, meet people, they were talking about, I don't know how to meet people. So that's how I did it. I literally just sent out a survey. But even if you only have 12 people on a list, if you send out a survey and 2 of them respond, and that's a place to start, you know?
Right.
I use a Google form to do it. So I just dump it all in a Google form, and I can, you know, you can make edits as you go. You can easily send it. It just dumps it all into a spreadsheet really cleanly. So that's what I do. Super. And how I did the initial research.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
I'm going to read that book.
It's super good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to plow through very, very quickly some of the, let me just do this. So I'm going to take a slightly different tack. We've talked about a website where you can subscribe and have everything kind of, all the tools are right there. You don't need to know how to code a lot, and you can have a beautiful looking web page that presents your course and that gives you the option to sell it as well. Then we have Seth, who is using MailChimp, which is one of the most popular mass email services. So for example, if you have a lot of people, or you want to get a lot of people to communicate with them through email. Of course, as Seth mentioned, email is still probably the most powerful way to have a relationship with the people you want to connect with, to teach or to hopefully get them to consider purchasing your product or services. So we looked at email as a sophisticated way to teach, kind of teach through email, to send your course out, and also with the intent of whetting their appetite perhaps to engage with you more in other ways. So I'm going to take, I guess, what would be considered a slightly more techie approach. So if you already have a website, okay, and I'm going to be talking specifically about WordPress, because WordPress now is perhaps the most popular format or most popular platform for building your own website. The reason I like having my own website as opposed to having a satellite site like Teachable or even Facebook or other web presences is that I retain control over all the elements. Of course, that means there's a lot more work because I've got to put everything into it. WordPress does make it easier because you can purchase templates that do most of the work for you. But in the end, you're still, it's really nuts and bolts. And that's just my, it's some people will really like that level of control. Other people are like, I want to have it all done for me. So that's why it's been really great to have Margaret and Seth talk through all these other options. Now, for somebody who wants maximum control over all of their content, their presentation, so these are going to be the options I'm going to talk about where you would have your own WordPress website, and then you could integrate a course within your website. So let's go take a look at I did some expensive research. I found one fascinating free option and 2 rather expensive paid options. So let's kind of go through the list. I'm going to go through and share. Here we go. So the first one we're going to take a look at is something that I did some Google searches, and this is called WP Courseware by Fly Plugins. And you can see I'll actually try to put in the links. This is here's the name of the plugin, WP Courseware. And this is it's one of the most popular course building plugins out there, believe it or not. And so it's used by a lot of folks, highly endorsed. It comes up on the top of most Google searches for best WordPress course creation plugin. Okay. And what's nice about this, rather than being a subscription where you have to pay something every month, or percentage where you have to give away a little bit of what you sell the course for to somebody else. You basically can purchase this all at once, and then it's yours. You can use it as much as you want. Another thing I really liked about WP Courseware is its integration with a lot of these other web services. For example, WooCommerce over here. WooCommerce is open source store software that you can add on to your WordPress website. And so if you want to have a web store, WooCommerce will get you set up right away, and that's what I use. And so I would have the option to sell the course as a virtual product in WooCommerce. Another thing I really like is its integration with Paid Memberships Pro, and that's what I use to control the memberships on a Musical Life Mastermind. And so folks who sign up as members, they go through a payment system which is handled by Paid Memberships Pro, and so certain portions of the site are only visible by members, so you need to purchase a membership to get full access, and that's what I have here. And there are other things, you know, if you have these other services that you use. So there's a lot of really interesting options with third-party or other plug-in providers. That's one of the reasons I was really attracted to this. A very impressive list of other corporations and universities that uses WP Courseware. So they've been around for a while and are used by some very reputable institutions. Okay, and so the 2-site license, I'll tell you right off the bat, was $99. Okay, I'm just curious, and that's pretty much what you would need. And it gives you two, you know, most of the folks will only have one website to create a course on, but who knows? So let me just.
Is that a one-time fee, Hugh?
One-time fee. It'll give you 1 year of support, 1 year of updates.
Okay.
But it's basically yours after your purchase. Very, very cool. All right. So that was actually the first one that I actually bought because of I did a lot of research, read through a lot of the online reviews, and it got a lot of thumbs up. So I'm going to actually do something interesting here. We're actually in the live mastermind forum, and what I did was I actually created a sample course using WP Courseware. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. I embedded the course link within this forum post. You can embed it really anywhere. But this is a course based on something called the audience formula. And I just basically took a solo live mastermind session where I started talking about this formula. And so here's the first lesson, so to speak, and it's basically a video lecture.
Welcome to the June 9th, 2016 edition.
And in this video lecture, I go through this interesting formula that I came up with that talks about
Charlie would feel obliged.
all the things that you basically need to have success to build an audience and hopefully get more people to attend your concerts. But this could be applied to anything else. So this is here's a little bit of geekdom. Here's the actual formula. Okay? And underneath that, you have these questions over here. This is actually, let me see. Did I do this right? This is the quiz. Let me see if I can actually redo this. Oh, interesting. Anyway, I might have to redo this, but when I was working on this, it's interesting. I might have to redo this or show this as a non-member or as a different member. But the quiz options I was a little disappointed with, actually. I was only able to, let me see if I can refresh this. I was only able to use multiple choice questions, okay? Which is okay, but, I think I know what this is. So basically, the way I have this quiz set up, these are free-form text fields, okay? Because I wanted people to be able to type in anything they wanted. So for example, what does A stand for? The A stands for blah, 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 whatever, okay? But the problem was it doesn't answer it for you, all right? I would have to manually grade this.
Oh.
Okay, so that's the open text option. Now, you can set up as multiple choice, but for me, it's kind of silly to have multiple choice when you see the answer right in front of you, right? And we're going to talk about another course creation product where I use the multiple choice because that was the only option. So with WP Courseware, you can actually have, I think, 3 different types of questions. Multiple choice, open text, or something else. I can't remember what it was. So their quiz tools are rather limited, all right? But And I also, the other thing was, although this is a very powerful and very flexible course creation system, you can create all different modules and units, and you can set, change the order of things around. You have to use a lot of what's called short code. So again, if you don't like coding, there's a tiny bit of coding you have to do. It's pretty clunky. And so you have to be a little savvy in terms of understanding how to use shortcuts. There are tutorials. And in fact, I couldn't figure out how to make the quiz. I actually had to watch several YouTube videos to get the hang of it. So it was a bit of a headache. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. Anyway, so that's a look at WP courseware. Then I found, after some more research, an interesting LMS, and LMS stands for Learning Management System, or Course Creation Software. This is called Lifter LMS. And what's interesting about Lifter LMS is that it's completely free. Well, the core module is free. And then the way they make money is that you can pay to have enhanced customer support, or if you want to buy extensions to make your course be able to do more things, then you can buy these extension modules. But if you're just doing a basic course, you can actually get started for free. It's a great way to get started if you're not sure about investing too much time or money into creating a course. You can sell these courses also. But again, selling it is also something that gets a little tricky. You have to get these are all testimonials, looks like. But it's interesting because WordPress itself uses Lifter LMS to teach about WordPress. So it's pretty interesting. We've got some interesting resources that are using Lifter LMS. And there's a pro version, of course. Let's go back into my little forum here. And I actually have another demo that uses Lifter LMS. Again, like I said, this is free. Yes? Are you kidding? Oh. Okay. So I'm going to jump down, and here's the LMS. You can see it's a direct link that I can create. And I'm going to mute Seth for just a bit.
Please do. Sorry.
That's okay. I'll get you back on, Seth, in just a bit. So anyway, so this is the same course, basically, same video that I can embed. All right. And now I can start another quiz. And here, let's see, what does the R stand for? I think this is also an open test. This is interesting. I thought this was a multiple choice one, for example. Let's see, roof. Oh, I see. I think this one, LMS, is this the right one? Sorry, give me a second. I'm just trying to see which version this is. Oh, I think I've got the wrong version. Hold on. Let's go back to this one. Oh, this is the good one. Sorry. Let me go to here's the Lifter LMS. What I wanted to show with the Lifter LMS is that it's very pretty. Okay?
Uh-huh.
I actually completed this one. But let's go ahead and do this. But you can see that it's a little more graphical. So it's the same content. You can create the content basically like you create WordPress posts. But let's go ahead and take the quiz. And the quiz is kind of cool. It gives you more graphics right there.
Wow.
And it shows, and it's a little bit more intuitive to put together. So here's what I mean. So in Lifter LMS, Lifter LMS, I'm limited to only multiple choice questions.
I see.
So here I'm going to say audience, next question. R stands for, I don't know, relevance, next question. L stands for listener. V stands for value. See what I mean? So I can see the answer already here. Which multiple question can be okay, but then it gives you a score, and it tells you who else, what the best score was, how long it took. And the other thing that's really interesting that was attracting me to Lifter LMS is the fact that you can purchase these gamification options and I was actually thinking this might be really good for younger students. If you have teenagers or college students and you want to get a little bit of a gaming element to get them more incentivized to participate and finish the course. You can have badges, you can have little awards that you can associate with completing different tasks or making progress. So that's an interesting thing to consider as you're building a course. Again, I'm looking at building this kind of a course similar to building a full semester's worth for an actual academic setting, okay, where I want to get feedback and measure the results and show the students themselves their own progress. You can create certificates that show them awards if they qualify above a certain score, so on and so forth. It's like a actual real college course or a real high school course.
Wow.
Last example, and this is one of the, here, let me just jump over to here. That's Lifter. Now here is another course. This is another paid course. This is more expensive than WP courseware. This is called LearnDash. And I kind of stumbled upon this because I was a little frustrated, as I mentioned, with the quiz feature of WP courseware. And I was looking for something that gave me more options for questions. All right. And again, what impressed me was that the University of Florida and Drexel University also used this plugin for their students. So again, this is being used by some pretty big companies and schools. Department of Defense? Good grief, I didn't know the Department of Defense uses this. So anyway, I can kind of see why. And the industry's most powerful quiz, it's very, very true. Let me show you an example of the quiz, and actually I kind of did it by accident, but let's take a look at this one. So it's the same kind of course, video lecture. You create the course as blog or page posts within WordPress. Now let's start this quiz over here. This is what I love about this thing here. Here is freeform text. I'm going to say the V stands for venue. The R stands, I can free type this. R stands for, the A stands for, I'm going to make a mistake here, love. B stands for buzz. Finish the quiz. And what's interesting is that those free questions are being scored. And the free questions, basically, I have the option of typing in all the possible answers. So I can put in misspellings, single, plural, and I just basically can try to guess what the possible answers could be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. And so it gives me a lot more flexibility. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to unmute you there. It gives me a lot more. Hello. How do you unmute this guy? Oh, maybe you have to unmute yourself. Well, anyway, it gives me, there you go.
Yes.
And of course, there are also multiple choice questions. There is, the quiz options are truly amazing. You could do something like have all these answers and you have to sort them in the right order, really cool. You can fill in the blank. So what sold me on LearnDash, if that's the correct name? LearnDash. What sold me on LearnDash is it hands down the most powerful quizzing feature. So again, it's a trade-off. WP courseware is powerful, clunky. Okay.
Is it the same price?
Let's go. Let me actually go into the price page over here. Good question. It's actually more expensive.
Oh.
Let me go into the price page for this one here. So pricing. So for one, I think for a single site, they're having a sale now for $129. For 10 sites plus a pro panel, it's $159. I actually went ahead and got the $159 version because I wanted to check out the pro panel, which basically gives you a more graphical representation on your students' performances and other features in terms of how the courses are being used. It's probably not worth the extra $30, but I wanted to see what all the options were. You can probably get by just fine with the $129 version. I don't know. I haven't played around enough with it yet, but one of the things that I'm considering is that I'm actually going to be designing actual college courses, and the Musical Life Mastermind very well may be integrated in one or two different colleges. So I actually have to design these 13-week course curriculums for music entrepreneurship and technology. So I need a heavy-duty course creation kit that I can sell to actual schools that will do the testing, that will give the schools or the organizations that want their students to go through the program actual feedback. So we can measure the results and make sure that they're getting their money's worth and that the students are actually coming away with actionable skills that they're learning. So in a sense, I'm going the academic approach where I really need to make sure the content is not only entertaining, that people feel like they're getting value, but I can actually measure the results and show them to corporations, foundations, schools to say, these are the results that the students are getting. And if they're not getting those results, I have to, it's my responsibility then to tweak the course to make sure the students are learning more. There are other great integrations with these things. For instance, I can set with the last course with with LearnDash, I can actually integrate memberships so that I can have certain sections in the forum, BB Press, accessible to those students. If they need to post questions, they can go to certain sections in the forum. They can have their own individual discussions on those things. Lots of other great things, but I'm going to say my own brief little survey, if I were asked to rate the top WordPress, LMS, learning management system, or course creation plugins, hands down for me personally, LearnDash is the winner because I love the testing feature. But other people may like the Lifter LMS because it's easier to put a course together. If you don't care so much about testing, I would take a good look at Lifter LMS. It's free. If you want to add in other features, you can do so by buying those courses. The plugins are not that expensive. They're like $30 or something, $30 to $50 for each of the little plugins. And again, you can purchase just what you need. But if you want to just do a free, just something for free, sell that on your own. If it's just information, for instance, if I just want to post a series of videos and just let the people enjoy that content, I don't care about testing, Lifter LMS may be, for my taste, a little easier to use than WP Courseware. Although WP Courseware is full-bodied, it'll give you a lot of tools to work with, a lot of options, especially for integrating with other third-party programs. So that's my take on the paid and the free version. This is the heavy-duty WordPress plugin course creation overview.
I like it. I like it. I had no idea it exists.
Pretty powerful stuff. And again, I'm coming from a background where I was working at, and I was mentioning this as we were chatting before starting the broadcast, at AirTurn. One of the ways that I was actually using a program called Moodle. Moodle is an open source web course creation content. So that means it's a free app that you can add into your website. Okay. Moodle, we use Moodle internally to train our staff members to get up to speed for customer service. So our customer, all the folks that would answer the phones, they needed to be able to answer the most common questions about how do I get my AirTurn to work? Why is this not working? What apps are best? And so I created an entire course for an internal training. And they were required to, score above a certain level so that we could have the confidence to say, okay, they're now ready. They know enough about our product to be customer service people. So for me, my experience with course creation had more in terms of I needed certain results levels to be confident to let them know that they had the skills to do X, Y, or Z. Does that make sense?
Definitely, yeah.
For sure.
It's really pretty impressive. Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if anybody has any other questions, maybe another 4, 5, 10 minutes of questions and we can close out. Any questions from among us?
I'm good, man. That was a lot to take in.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, I'm beginning to rethink. Do I need to pay that $40 every month? I mean, I just wonder with these courses, can it be structured? Like you saw in the Teachable, where you have the module 1 and the outline. Is that the same on these courses?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are going to be easier to see the outline than others. I mean, some of them will give you the option you can give the student the option to jump to different modules, or you can drip feed them so that they can only see something after a certain time or after they complete certain modules. So you can set, and they're very flexible in terms of the prerequisites. You can set them or not set them.
Okay.
So yeah, I just threw together a really simple whiz bang. Just here are the basics of what you do. Yeah, but but it at least gives me a running start. And says, here are the basic things I need, and yes, I can lay out a full detailed course. You can put as much time to make it as detailed and as academic-like as possible. Because the reality is, I think I saw some estimate in one of these LMS sites that said 25% of the internet is on there to learn something. That's how big the education market is for selling courses, selling education, teaching things. 25% of the internet. So a lot of people are on there to learn something. So this is a huge potential market if, as we heard from Margaret and Seth, you can find the right audience and you can create content that is compelling.
Yep.
So I think Teachable is a great way to get started to learn how to create a course. And I think the benefit of having a subscription is that, again, it's one of those things where you have to measure it. If you're making enough income, it's going to be worth that subscription, right? But if you're not making the income, then you might want to think about maybe it's worth porting that over or taking elements that you've learned from Teachable and just buying one of these modules and then recreating the course on your own site so that you maintain full control of the price and keeping all of the profits rather than sharing them or paying out every month to something else.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because, so it might be something where you try Lifter LMS, the free version, and just try putting that course together, testing it out on your site and see how it works, and
right.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
Oh, this is great. This is really great.
Yeah, this has been a lot of great information. It's really great.
You too as well. Margaret, Seth, thank you so much for taking the time to put those awesome slides together. That was so helpful. In fact, if you guys don't mind, maybe if you can save those slides as PDFs, I'll put those PDFs up as additional links underneath the forum post that has this mastermind link. And this is going to be the richest, I think, the richest live mastermind we've done. We've got all these links and files and bits of information. So if anybody needs a good crash course and online course creation, we've got it. We've built this amazing resource in just an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Wow. Crash course. Love it.
Hey, thank you guys so much. All right, listen, have a great night. And until next time, I'm Hugh Sung for A Musical Life Mastermind, the live mastermind. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.